and I think we've made it to the program in almost record time, leaving ample time for you and for questions afterward. Reminding you that there are 2 mics, and you know the drill. Line up behind the mics and alternate between them if you have questions. But we are looking very much forward, Coach, to your presentation. And I want to remind all of you that questions are indeed encouraged. We have made a contribution, by the way, to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund in your name as a way of saying thanks for speaking to us today. You've probably read more about Coach Chryst than I could probably tell you even if I read all of my notes. But he is clearly the man of the hour here. He is a former Wisconsin player and assistant coach and a Madison native, and so welcome home again. I know that everybody's happy to see you here, returning to your roots. And for the last 3 seasons, as you know, he was head coach at Pittsburgh, where he led the Panthers to 3 consecutive bowl appearances. He had a 7-year stint as the Badgers' offensive coordinator, as a matter of fact. As a coordinator, he produced 14 All-Americans, a total of 25 players that were part of his offenses, and went on to be selected in the NFL draft. And this next part is really interesting. He was a 3-time letter winner in Wisconsin, where he earned a degree in political science in 1988, had added a master's degree in education administration from West Virginia in 1990. And if you wonder how he ever got into this business, his brother Rick is a commissioner of the Mid-American Conference for 10 years. Another brother, Jeep, is the San Francisco 49ers offensive coordinator. His late father, George, was a longtime head coach at UW-Platteville and a former Badgers player and assistant coach. It seemed to me that you really had to do this, didn't you? Paul and his wife, Robin, have 3 children, Katie, Jojo, and Danny, and we're happy that you're here. Welcome.
Well, certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here this afternoon, and proud to be the head coach at Wisconsin and to represent our players and our football program, not just today, but every day. And truly do feel fortunate for that. And, you know, as far as coming up and speaking, I've always, you know, there's people in this room I know and have admired for a number of years, and then you hear the list of new members and people that have done a ton of great things, and I kind of, the cynical part of me is like, and you guys are here to listen to me, you know what I mean? That's I know better than that, you know. But I think there is something about Wisconsin, and I think that the football team, our athletics, kind of give a glimpse of it, and they're part of something bigger. And Angie, I got to get you to be with the team and around the team. But I mean, that energy, and there is a spirit of this state and, you know, the university, and I'm proud to be a part of it. And it means a ton to me to be the head football coach here, and not for all the reasons that a lot of people may think about. And you're reading off, you know, why, you know, by the end of it, why you're in coaching, and kind of where you're in coaching because I don't know what else I could do, so you try to be good at it. But I do feel really fortunate, and people have asked this a number of times, you know, is this your dream job? And I've always felt that every day that I've been able to coach, I was living out a dream. And I think I learned that from my dad. But then to be able to do it at Wisconsin, it's very special. But I think any of us that can do something that we love doing and that you're passionate about, and I get the opportunity to be around and hopefully have an impact on young men, that is the dream. And then to be able to do it here, it makes it special. But I think anytime you can do what you love to do and do it with a group of people that you admire and appreciate, and I think I got that chance here with the staff that I get to work with every day, and the players that are on the team now, and that we get to recruit, and to be able to do that at a place that's unique and special I'm pretty fortunate, and I know that, and I want to stay here, so it drives you to do your job and do it well. But it truly is a unique position that I get to do, and that's be around. You read off, and I know that I'm here today as the head football coach of Wisconsin, in part because of the body of work that you do over time. But every time that you read off something and it reads like I produced, and those that know sports, anything, know better that I think I had a hand in helping those players, those teams have success. But there's a lot of people that are the reason why I'm here today. And when we play Alabama for the first game and all those games, why I'm the head coach, and that's because so many people. And I think we're all in that. And I think that's something that I like to remind myself of. And every time a ex-player comes in the office, had a couple people stay at our house this summer, and they're like, why? Because this is why we have this house. It's why we get to do what we do, and it's the people. So, I think I've been fortunate enough to be around people and take advantage of opportunities. But I think any of us that have been successful, it's not you alone that did it. And I think it's important that those who helped you, that you let them know that and share it with them. A couple observations. Would like to get one of those bells, because damn, you guys just respond to that thing right now. I'm like, that might be helpful. I don't know where we can get there. And I was told about the singing, and I thought, there's no way. A bunch of singing's real here. But I think with Andrew, just job on the piano too. There's a good energy here, and that's where it's fun to be a part of. And it's been an interesting transition for me personally and for our family, because Madison is home to us, and yet there's a lot of things within the job that are just first year getting used to. I think the one thing that I enjoy the most about coaching is working with the players and helping them, not just on the field. We talk all the time, there's really 3 areas that we focus on, and that's football brings it together for us, and it kind of starts that relationship, and love the game, and want players that love the game and want to be great at it. But then there's also another component that's every bit as important, and that's the educational part of it. They truly are student athletes, and the guys that have done well here in the past and the kids we're trying to recruit, both those have to be important, along with continuing to grow as people, not just our students. I think the kids help us grow. And those are the 3 things. Everything in the program we do is based on, does it help them grow as a football player, does it help them grow as a student, and does it help them grow as a person? And I think that that's the key to it all, trying to be the best that we can be. And I think coaches, none of us really know how good a kid can be. And so it's our job to just keep pushing them to be the best they can be. And whatever that best is, you're good with. But, we had a couple kids in today and think they could be really good players. But you really don't know. What if you think as a coach the kid could be all Big Ten for 2 years? That'd be a hell of a career. But what if we're wrong and he could be an All-American? So I think it's our job to just keep pushing them, be the best they can. But while they're doing it, enjoy the process. And I think, in fact, I think winning, been fortunate, certainly with the teams I was with here, coaching, not as a player, but coaching, we won a lot of games. But I think winning's a byproduct of doing everything else and doing things, the little things. And we talk all the time that, the magic, everyone wants that magic. What's the magic deal? What's the secret formula? And we talk all the time to the kids, the magic is there is no magic. Once you embrace that there is no magic, that you got to work, I think it helps them. And I think that the little things, the details, whatever those are, they mean a ton. And I think as long as the players know you care about them and you can help them, then you're a benefit to them. And I think that's been the biggest challenge for me, and I knew it would be, but it's just getting to know this team. And even the kids that we recruited, there's a few of us that were here with some of these players, but they're older and they've changed and matured. And so it's getting to know your team. And I think once you get to know your team, then you have a chance to coach them. And so that's been the fun part, but also one of the challenges. And each thing you go through, each phase, each moment you have with them, it's one more opportunity to get to know them. And I think that we're best doing our job when we know our kids, and it's fascinating. Every player in our program, every kid has a different story, and they have a different. And we talk all the time. What's your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? And they're not going to give it to you right away. They've got to know, and it takes time to really get to the essence. But once you understand a kid's why, what's his reasons, then you can help him maximize what he's doing. So that's been the fun opportunity and the fun challenge. Obviously, Sunday we get going. Our kids report Sunday. I think we've had a good summer. But fall camp is so important. It's really 3 weeks. And in that time, you've got to build, and that is the foundation of your team. Certainly a lot of it's built on schematics and making sure that they understand the what to do and the how to do it, but it's also time to come together. I think our team right now, it's a team, there's kind of 3 different groups. We've got a group of guys that have played a lot of football and won big games, and they've been significant contributors, and we need that group. A lot of them are seniors. It's a guy like Mike Caputo, it's Vince Beagle, it's Joe Schobert, it's Tyler Merritz. We got a group of guys that have played. Joel Stave's played a lot of games, and they've got to play and be their best this year. They've got to talk all the time. Seniors have to have their best year, and then we've got a group of older guys that it's their turn now. It's their time. And if we can get in, and I think that we grabbed them, and there's that group of guys that are old enough to know, but maybe for whatever reason, playing behind good players, or they were still developing. If they can make that jump, then I think that's the key to our season. If that group can make the jump, and then there's some younger players that we've got to help grow up, and they've got to grow up fast, and that's all part of it. That's kind of, it's each team's unique, but kind of that formula is true to all college teams, and so that's what makes it exciting, and appreciate, again, to be able to do that every day and to helping their growth. I know we're just talking about up here. I know there's been a lot of talk, recently because of the current events, about our admissions policy, and I've always thought that in recruiting, period, it's you've got to go, and it's finding the right fit, and it's the university's job to go out and try to recruit players that they think would be a good fit, and then players have to decide. And I think one of the things that we've had, and I go look back in the teams and the players that have been successful here, they've been guys that playing and being the best football player was real to them. That they wanted that, but they also wanted a meaningful degree, and they wanted to be able to do it in a special city and a great campus. And when all those 3 things come together, those guys had a chance to have success. And there is no simple formula to this all, but I think one of the things that we don't have, if you have, and I like the fact that we've got a great university, and that this university may not be for everyone. And yes, our pool of possible recruits is smaller than some of the other places I've been, but I also think the ones that you get, I love coaching them, and have loved being able to coach the players I coach here. And so there's so that people say, what do you think of the high standards? All for it. We all want high standards, and we can fit. And we've had a lot of good players that have fit those parameters and been very successful here and been great players. And then I also think that there's not everyone fits into this neat little box, and it's our job to make sure we're bringing the right kind of players here, and guys that can have can have success and want to have success. And no one is more vested in them doing well than us. And we've got a great support system at the university. You know, our academic support, it's as good as there is in the country. And I'm proud of that. And so I think that, you know, would never bring and try to get a player in here that didn't believe in and didn't know. And there are no guarantees. There's no guarantees in anything. But we know, and that's why I feel fortunate, knowing this university and what types of kids can have success. And I'm all right with recruiting a little bit smaller pool, because I think that pool has enough guys that are certainly good enough football players, but are really special people. I think that's where we've won. We've won, you know, with guys that certainly are talented enough, but at the end of the day, you know, the team is the most important thing. And I think some of the old cliches, the more I'm around this, I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older or what, but the more I'm around it, some of the old cliches, I think they mean more now than maybe they did. I remember hearing my dad talk about it all the time. And so I think that, you know, football's not a complicated game, football's not life. But there are great life lessons to be learned from the game. And obviously I'm biased. I know we got a big basketball fan down here, but I think football is the greatest team sport. You know, in fact, I know it. But anyways, you know, but it is. And I talk all the time, and I'll kind of leave with this before we go to questions. But you know, there's a lot of people here maybe believe this, but they're just saying that there's no I in team. And if we were just in our team, I'd have you raise your hand. And those that believe in that, they raise it. And it's kind of a trick question. The head coach is telling you, do you believe there's no I in team? If you don't, you're like, okay, he's a selfish. And can you just like be as like a bleep too, if you hit that and then bleeps it out? And yet I think the I is the best part of the team. And the individual can't come ahead of the team, but the I, having a team, it's like this group. If this group was all the same person, not a real dynamic group. But if you can have a group of people, you know, for us, they can be black, white, rich, poor, from the north, from the south, strong Christians, trying to figure it out. You can go on, right? Totally different. And yet if you can get a group from all these different backgrounds and to do one thing together, that's fun. That's power. And so I think that the I is the most important part of the team, but the team is the most important thing. So that's what we get to do and talk all the time with our players. Want you to be you, and then I give the qualifier, just be the good you. You know, and guys hear all the time, like, don't want you to be that ass, and we all have that in us. But be you, but be the good you. And if we just keep growing, and so I feel fortunate to be able to do that again, be back here and to do it with the group of people that I'm with. And certainly we're excited for the season, there's no doubt. And you're excited for every season. And every season is a journey. And don't know, you know, I just went down to Big Ten Media Days, and people want to talk about what are the important games. And it is coach speak, but I believe it. Like, they're all important. And every day is important. And that's, I think, the way that and there's a lot of different ways to do it, right? But I think that's the way that works. I know it works here, and I know it fits who I am and who our staff is, and I think it fits the state. At the end of the day, we want to have a team that our players are proud to be on, and our fans, alumni, are proud to watch, and that's the goal. And the one thing I'll promise you is that the kids, coaches, we're working towards that, and appreciate certainly everyone's support, but appreciate the opportunity to be doing that with the group of people at the University of Wisconsin here. All right, no questions? I'm good. No.
Thanks for coming, Coach, and good luck. It sounds like you're not in favor of lowering academic standards for admissions, but given the amount of time that the coaching staff spends with players and their families in the recruiting process, should there be an increased role for the athletic coaches in that admissions process, especially when a recruit is on the bubble?
Yeah, I think it's important. You have to have standards, and there's certain, my son was sharp, he got in, and that's it. But there's people that I think can do well and would do well at this university and be great for this university, and I want to be able to speak on their behalf, and I want them to know, and I want to go through it with people. There's not one coach, there's not one person that knows, but if you get a collective group of people together, hash it out. I've had some of these where you go talk to people and they got great ideas. Like this would be perfect for him. This is how you do it. So I think there's just some things in the whole procedure that if we can learn from and go forward, then it'd be good.
Coach, thank you so much for coming. My name is John Nonsapil, and I want to welcome you here today, and I'm going to invite you back again this time next year. You will be here this time next year.
I hope to earn the right to be here, yeah,
Okay, now here's my football question. I heard you talking a lot about life and leadership, but let's talk about strategy in football for just a minute. I know that you used to be a defensive coordinator, so is it defense or offense? Which wins the game and why?
We were talking about that. I'll go back to something I said, it's the greatest team sport. We had a game, we were just talking about this as a staff, right? I had a game this past year, won 58-55, all right? A couple of biggest plays were on the defense side. Well, you can't play this game and not have everyone. You need offense, defense, special teams. And you might be going up against some. So teams win games would be the final answer. Ring the bell on that one. All right.
Coach Dick Lovell, you mentioned the importance of the older guys stepping up and moving in to make the differences here. Are there a couple or three positions where that's particularly important, where they really need to step up and stand out from the others?
Yeah, I think that as you look at our team, I think the receivers a position where we've got some Reggie Love, Rob Wheelwright, guys who've been around. If they can come on, I think we're pretty good in that group. Inside linebacker, Leon Hunt's going to be a junior. If Leon steps up and takes advantage of that opportunity, I think we could be good right there. Arthur Goldberg's a guy that's played some, but he can be a leader on the team. So I think there's I think almost every position, we've got some of those, offensive line. We've got Dan Volz has played a lot. Tyler Maris has played. But other than that, we could have some young guys. We've got Walker Williams and Ray Ball. They've been around the program. It's their opportunity. And if they can have that year, then I think we got a chance. And I know I'm forgetting some others, right? I mean, you know that. And that's part of college football. But those are some of the guys that come to mind, that if those guys be the good them, they're capable. And I think one thing that's, when I talk about that, it's an interesting part of coaching is confidence is a real thing. And I've talked this team, I've talked about different teams. There's no better thing than genuine confidence. And we all know it, right? In whatever you do, when you have real confidence, not talking about arrogance now, but when you have genuine confidence, that is so powerful. And it's our job to help them see it. You can't give it to them, you can't BS them. But I think those are the types of kids, if they can they've got it in them. And it's our job to help get it out of them. It's their job. Together we got to do that.
Welcome, Coach.
Thank you.
And thanks for being with us today. There's no question that it's much harder to be a young person these days. The pressures that are on teenagers and young adults, and of course then there's social media. I just thank God that social media didn't exist when I was younger.
You're not the only one.
And the statute of limitations has expired. My wife of 42 years will give further details if you want. But what is your approach, Coach, to helping kids not do stupid stuff? You see these kids that are self-destructing all over the country that have great promising futures, and then they do something stupid and it's all over.
Yeah, you try to, it's like with your own kids, you try to you talk it. And there's opportunities, if something comes up, you'll bring it up. But you just try to talk it, and I don't want to say educate. I think they know. And we've all been, some of those things that you and I and everyone else in this room would like to take back. You know what I mean? And I think we talk a lot of time about being with someone. So if you may not be thinking exactly clear, someone in the group is. I think, but you just got to keep talking it. And I'm not saying that we've perfected it, right? But I think you got to address it, you got to acknowledge it, and I think you shoot them straight. I think the one thing, I think it is harder, but I think it's amazing how much depth these kids have. And you can go, and the more real you get with them, I think the more they respond to it. But it's like with my own kids. I mean, you hold your breath and you say a prayer at night, and you don't know, right? But you just kind of try to educate them as best you can, acknowledge it, and you get, peer pressure can work in two ways, right? I mean, you can push them down one path, or you can pull them off another, pull them on your way. Try to get as much positive peer pressure as we can.
Coach, this is the question I try to get around a year. What are the changes in the rules that may affect us this year?
This is a every other year, we have the official in the room, but this is a year where there's not as many big changes. Everything though, is geared now towards player safety. And I think that's everyone wants that. It's a good thing. The thing that is scary to me is having the rule is one thing, but how can it be officiated properly? And I think that's where it's been tough on officials, because what do they look for? And we all know what we want. And football is a physical game. There's that component that is. And I think that it's our job as coaches, players, to play it the right way, to teach the right techniques, tackling. There's a lot to talk about, but concussions certainly are the topic right now. But right now, as a fan, there's nothing, we're not changing anything significantly that as a fan. I think it's really in dealing with the player safety. Like last year was no low hits on the quarterback, if you were coming clean. And that's a hard one to officiate. And so everything, and I think it'll be that way for the near future, it all has to do with player safety. But there's nothing, they took back, if you remember, if you had the flagrant hit on someone, that you'd be ejected from the game, and then they could review it and they could take away the penalty but not the suspension. That you can be now reinstated. So it's things along those lines, but nothing as far as the game itself really that is big.
Thank you.
On your way here today, what was the one question that you were focused on that you were hopeful that no one would ask?
I'd like to say that I was thinking a lot about this, but I really wasn't on the way over. So. Why the hell do you think I named Joel to start us? We didn't get that question right away.
So the loyal fans love to scream their lungs out. Do the players actually hear it? Could we be better fans?
I think, you know what I think? It's probably a good thing it's this way. They hear and they feel the energy. It's a real thing. It's absolutely real. But they don't hear you MFing them. You don't hear the one voice, right? So save your energy on that one. But they do feel, and it is a real, and that's where Camp Randall, we've had an advantage. Now we got to take advantage of home field, but absolutely, and it's a special place, and it's because, you go in there right now, and it's great looking and all that, but the stadium's doesn't have life to it. It's the fans that bring it to life. We practice there every day, and there is something different about Saturdays, right? And it's not just because you're playing a game. It's because of everyone around. Our kids know that. But you really don't hear the specific, people yelling at you as much as you hear when they're all booing you, when they're cheering, but you don't hear the specifics which is probably a good thing.
Coach, I want to welcome you back home.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you in Indianapolis coaching in December and some fantastic bowl game. You keep talking about Madison as a special place and UW as a special place. So I think we can all imagine what you talk to recruits about your team and the athletics at UW. What do you say about the university in Madison to help, steer them our way?
I think that, one, I think it's in recruiting that I tell us all the time, I'd much rather undersell and overdeliver, and for all recruits, like I said, we had 2 in today, and I'm going to go see another one right after this, but I want them to see everything there is about it, and I think it's obvious. We were talking, one kid asked today, he's looking at a picture and talked about the lakes, and if you don't take advantage of the city, if you don't take advantage of the university, all it has to offer, then there is nothing to it. But I think there's, it is a great, you can get a great education. It's a one thing I talk all the time, you can be the top football program in the country. You can be a top school, not even just in the country, in the world. And people rank this as, one of the best college towns. I said, you got to figure it out. But we talk about just using it, and you just try to explain what there is to do. And we talk to our kids, probably talk more to our kids now than recruits. Go down to farmer's market. This is embarrassing to say, but this year was the first time I've ever been to a concert on the square. Yeah, I know, okay. I've been busy working, all right, no. And so then I tell players, this is a pretty cool thing, and you just try to get them to be around it and see it and feel it. But I think the university is taking advantage. And one thing we talked a lot about is, and it came from players, and so we started using it, but meeting someone outside, just on campus, meet someone outside of the athletic department, outside of and there are special people. There's smart, varied backgrounds, so we kind of, as a position coach, I do that, just, okay, you got to go meet someone, you got to introduce yourself, find out about it, and just see. I think you just got to tap into the resources. We try to talk to them what they are, but then it becomes individual. But it's really probably more with our players that we talk more about than with recruits. All right, thank you.
Coach, you seem to like this bell, so why don't you ring us out?
Just hit it?
Just hit it.